Um, that as we move towards thinking about coming out the other end of it, all this business about, we've got to have compulsory vaccinations, and there's going to be a need for, like identity cards, or maybe, Bill Gates is saying we all got to have chips in us and stuff like that. So, and it's also fascinating watching. I don't know whether you saw some of the reports about China making some military advances there in the China Sea.
No, I didn't see that one. No, tell me about it.
Oh, basically, just in some of those disputed waters, they've just ramped up all of their military presence there, and the suggestion being that they've been using the virus as a bit of a smokescreen. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke screens going on all over the world, from what I can gather. But
Yeah.
when is it going to become public? That's what I want to know. A lot of people seem to know about it and are aware of it, but it's not in the mainstream media, and it's not in the interest of the mainstream media.
No, well, I mean, I think the mainstream media is part of the culprit, isn't it? With all of these advertising campaigns about we're all in this together and all this sort of rubbish. So.
Yeah, and the enemy.
Yeah. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens. I mean, I was a little bit surprised there over the weekend when the police were, like everywhere, were just so active, fining people left, right, and centre, sort of thing. So,
in which country did you?
Oh, in Australia, like in each of the states, I think they said over the weekend there was over $1 million worth of fines handed out. So.
Oh, I thought fines. I thought you meant they were fined in.
Oh no.
Fined.
Yeah, penalties. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, which is interesting as well. So. Very interesting. Whoever would have thought that in this country that you'd get infringement notices for leaving your home? Whoever would have thought?
Yeah, absolutely. And the numbers that are being killed in other countries. I mean, this country's been spared compared to other countries. And one can't help thinking, and it will eventually all come out, I know, well, hopefully, but, how is it spreading in certain geographical areas so fast compared to other areas, it's not as if one person just is present in an area and then it affects everybody,
No, that's right. Yeah, it seems quite peculiar, doesn't it?
So, it seems very peculiar. One almost gets the impression that there's somebody with a little bottle of virus that just happens to be, deciding that area is the area to spread it around.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just put it on some veggies that are being delivered or something.
Well, it's also interesting too that some strains of the virus seem to be virtually no symptoms, yet other strains, it's almost like a certain death sentence. So.
Yeah. Well, let's. The people who did make predictions said we would know a lot more by the end of April.
Yeah.
So we're halfway through. 2 more weeks to go. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I was waiting eagerly there, like on Good Friday, thinking, oh well, you never know, something's going to break. But
yes, that's right. Because they said somewhere between Good Friday and the end of April was the sort of sources that I use on YouTube. Oh, well.
So what's your what's your sense? Like you see these things on the media, you obviously watch other YouTube videos and things like that. I mean, so what are you doing as such? Are you just sort of taking it all in and standing by and watching, or do you have a practice that you have going on behind the scenes, or?
Well, first of all, the statistics of people that have died from coronavirus, okay, they across the age spectrum, okay, but the common factors are that I think they use the word just about all of them were suffering from some sort of ailment, okay, maybe heart attack or diabetes was mentioned, and a few other examples were mentioned like that. From the respectable alternative media, there's a strong, if your immune system is strong, a strong message from them, if your immune system is strong, it's going to knock it away, okay? It's just not going to kill you. It might just affect you mildly, but generally it won't affect you at all. Okay? And so I've always been great from my writings historically that the immune system needs to be strong. One needs to start with the immune system for anything, just for staying healthy. That's where you start, okay? And so I think that for me, looking at it, the people who are dying statistically are people that were sick anyway. Okay? To some degree. I mean, I have diabetes, and I don't know when I have to stop saying I don't have diabetes anymore. But, it's they say it's not curable, and I say it is curable. So I hope I'm proved to be right. So that's my take on it. What's your take?
I suppose a couple of things. I mean, it's sort of fascinating at one level, just watching it all unfold, but also probably more so in one sense is just looking at the reactions of people generally. Like I just look on social media and there's all this, like, we've been in lockdown for what, a couple of weeks? I don't know, has it been that long? I don't know, a couple of weeks. And there's a whole lot of people who are just stir crazy. I mean, just losing it, and I'm just sort of thinking, well, that's quite peculiar, because all they're being asked to do is just stay at home, not being asked to go and do anything, not being asked to go and put on, camouflage and carry a gun and jump into a trench anywhere. They've just been asked to stay at home. And it just seems to me shows quite a lot of mental weakness. And people, they just seem to be bored with themselves. They seem to have no sort of discipline about themselves or anything like that at all. So I'm kind of wondering whether or not, part of that sort of mindset leaves them open, actually, to infection.
And then I'd like to add to that. I from what I can see, and it's definitely is promoted 24/7 by the media, and that instilling fear in people. And fear is very destructive. Fear definitely weakens your immune system,
absolutely,
and a lot of other systems as well, and definitely pushes up your blood sugar. So this whole fear mongering, I think, is driving people, to imagine all sorts of things that's going to happen. So they rush off and buy toilet paper, and they buy guns, and they buy more booze. And I think the basis is the fear, and I think it's not a matter of just staying home. I mean, some people have lost their jobs, lost their income. Now, okay, I mean, I've been there twice in my life when I've been bankrupted, sequestrated, stuff like that. And, you know, fortunately, it didn't have a fear thing with me. I was just like more determined, like start a new career and get going again. And, you know, even when I went to the auction where they sold up all my furniture in my house and everything, and, you know, watched who bought what and so on. And then, hey, out of the blue, you know, 2 weeks after that auction, somebody offered me a job. Okay? But it was a junior job. And I said, no, you know, I'm worth more than that. And they offered me a senior job. So, you know, I think a lot depends on knowing that this world is ruled by Satan, but is overruled by God. And you make the choice. You make the choice. Okay? There's no doubt in my mind you make the choice. And so I think people that don't have any sort of spiritual background or have an artificial religious spiritual background, which is only based on some belief system which is not very secure.
I actually don't think a lot of people actually know how to make a choice. You know, like I imagine, you know, and I sort of see it in different areas where people are sort of homebound. They all of a sudden you've got men who are sort of growing beards and stuff like that, which they've probably hardly ever done before. You know, their diets have gone out the window. You know, there just doesn't seem to be much discipline about them at all. As you say, the fear factor is constant there. The TV is probably on most of the time during the day, even if they're not watching it. It just seems to me that maybe that's part of the ploy, that to weaken people's systems, you know, so that the virus does have more effect.
You know, coming back to the question you asked now is, do people know how to choose? Now, you've given one example of, they've chosen to go to the dogs, so they've chosen to indulge in food and not to shave and so on. But the others, and I've met a lot of them in the parks as we go for walks with the grandchildren and so on every day. They look vibrant, they look happy, and they greet you. Right? And you greet them and they respond, and then you stop for a few minutes, you know, 4 or 5 meters apart, and you know, how you doing, how you coping, and everybody seems positive. Okay? So I think, okay, that's the other choice. You see, you've got that choice you can make. You can accept it, say, you know, it's not going to affect me. You know, I'm going to read books that I haven't read before. I'm going to watch less television. I'm going to meditate. And I'm going to watch videos that are spiritual, okay, in nature, that reinforce spirituality. I've doubled my meditation periods. Okay, so you know, that's the other choice. So people choose that way or that way. You can't really choose the middle road. I don't think there is a middle road.
No, I think you're right. I think it's left or it's right. It's a T-junction, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a T-junction. Yeah. Definitely think that. So, and I don't know how one, you know, sort of does one's part. I don't think you can, quite honestly. I don't think you can really influence other people.